男って小さいのね。
ちゃんと組んだくってくるわよ。払わなかったら団地の中で泣き叫んでやるから。それよりお金入ったら旅行行くからね。準備して。
あなたがさくらさん、人の亭主に手出してんじゃないわよ。
待って私は何も待って
夕張メロンは北海道。
旦那さんが浮気だって。
あいつには仕事って言って
何も知らなくてかわいそう。
いいだろう、一回だけ。
あら、男って小さいのね。
ちゃんと組んだくってくるわよ。払わなかったら団地の中で泣き叫んでやるから。それよりお金入ったら旅行行くからね。準備して。
あなたがさくらさん、人の亭主に手出してんじゃないわよ。
待って私は何も嘘よ、子供ができたなんて嘘だから。
やってしまってから言わない。
待って
素敵。空がこんなに近いのね。さあ、次は新規さんの番よ。仕事のふりしてどこへ出かけたのかしら。
あれ、あの人さっきの
妖怪ですよ。しかも超特大の。
あしゃこれは妖怪水増バートとゴードンの仕業。その昔、イナゴやネズミやアリを巨大化させ、人間を恐怖のどん底に陥れた妖怪。
なーに。恥を知りなさい。
決まった時。
今夜は鍋料理。
それは家庭の秘密。
ファイヤー。チッ
なかなかやるじゃない。
そっちこそ。
今日の特売は大根。でもそれだけじゃないわ。
安いのは大根だけじゃない。
しいたけもよ。主婦をなめんな。
太鼓喜んでくれ。
あなた、
今日は僕らの結婚10周年だ。君に何か送ろうと思ったけど、僕は死ぬしか趣味がない。だからせめて僕の腕で仕留めた命を送ろうと思ったんだ。
ってなんでやねん。
この記念すべき夜に君とボタン鍋をつきたかった。 から仕事と偽って狩りに出かけたんだよ。そして見てくれ、僕はついにこの立派なカモを仕留めたんだ。
カモ？
イノシシじゃないのかよ。
そんなカモでご機嫌取り。あの女は何？
死ぬかと思った。
あれは違う。僕も会社でいろいろあってイライラしてたからつい。
合体したのね。
一回だ。浮気はこの一回だけだ。信じてくれ。
どいつもこいつも一回って一回私はいつでも待ってたわ。でも待てど暮らせど来やしない。私は何年ほったらかしだったと思ってんのよ。
まずい、これはまずいよ。怒りのエネルギーが発散されていく。
プロポーズの時言ったわよね。私と幸せな家庭を築きたいって。あなた、私と一緒にいて本当に楽しかったの？
Have you ever seen a giantess going rogue, destroying cities and towns? So this video is for you because you can see this giantess seeing a normal housewife is transformed into a giantess and then is causing chaos around that place and city and around the people too. As you can see, the scene is starting with two twins who tends to be magician who casted a spell of transforming a person into gigantic size, and that spell went to a normal housewife who was trying to get grossly stuff, and then she started experiencing giantess growth. After becoming a giantess, she was freaking out because you never know, a housewife was stressed, a lot of baggage, a lot of stress, and guess what? You are continuing giving him stress by transforming her into a giantess, and that is really crazy. So as you can see, there's another scene that you can see a painter who's struggling in terms of like making paintings, making a masterpiece, and you can see, as you can see on the scene, you can see the painter is so tired, like maybe he didn't even sleep. So you can see like in his face, you can see the painter is like so tired in terms of like he was trying to work, but maybe he has a lot of stress because you never know, maybe because maybe he hasn't even been selling the paintings, or maybe he has been not able to create, like maybe to plan maybe an exhibition so that the painting can be sold. And after, when you're seeing the painter struggling and having a lot of stuff, and plus you can see the painter is drinking at the same time while painting, suddenly you can see on the window the giantess is lurking around like, wakey wakey, what you doing? And then you can see the painter's face like, what the hell is just happening? I'm having a bad day. I haven't even sell any masterpiece that I created, and I'm so broke, and I'm drinking a lot of alcohol. And suddenly I see on the window there's a giantess who's watching me acting crazy, and that's really scary. And before anything else happened, you can see a giantess trying to bully the painter by like pumping the room with air so that he cannot paint, and that's really crazy. So this is the definition of why some people are not qualified to transform into a giantess, because as you can see, this magician transformed a lady who became a giantess who was going rogue, because in the different scene you can see after bullying a painter, she started walking around where people were running away because people were seeing a giantess like walking around and killing some people, because there was a scene where there was a normal lady in the middle of the road in a car was just like talking to his friend in the phone, like, hey, you know what, I'm having a good day because maybe I have been paid, sorry, maybe later we can go and grab some drinks and stuff. And you can see, like, while talking, she's seeing a giantess walking around, and then that giantess grabbed the car, and then she took the car and then throw it, and that was so crazy because what if that person died? Spoiler alert, the person in the car didn't die because he crashed into a building, and the good thing is that car had like an airbag so that she cannot get hurt, she cannot get like injuries and stuff, and that's really crazy. So as you can see, the giantess that transformed into like a giantess Karen was acting really weird and acting rogue, as you can see. So in the scene there's like these 4 like ladies who tend to like wearing these superhero suits. I'm sorry we didn't have to show you that scene because because we want this video to get monetized. So yes, we had to like clip some clips so that it can be safe for the video on YouTube. So yeah, so you can see these 4 ladies, I don't know, 4 maybe 5. They tend to have like these really cool gadgets, and they tend to have like superpowers. So they were tasked like, hey, you know what, there's a giantess who's going rogue around the city, destroying cities, destroying people, causing harm, causing people to run away, acting crazy. So you guys go there to the scene, to the actual scene, so that you can see what's going on with the giantess who's going rogue. Maybe try to find a solution so that the giantess maybe can come down, or maybe you can contain the giantess and maybe we can lock her up, maybe because it's acting so weird, or maybe you can put her into the zoo so everybody can see her and pay money to see her just by, to increase the town's, I don't know, GDP, I don't know. So they arrived, and when they see the giantess was not looking good because the giantess will continue causing chaos, people running away. You can see the giantess was like jumping around, where you can see while she's jumping, you can see the sand were like moving up and down, and that was so terrifying because you can see across like the surrounding of the giantess there was like tall buildings and stuff. So what if like those buildings fall down, or maybe had like fall down and maybe break, and you never know in those buildings if there's people inside those buildings, what if they died, So yes, so one of them like okay, you know what, I'm gonna start to just try to solve the problem by just throwing some polka dots, I don't know, some balls and stuff, and it didn't work. So they had to find a way, but they failed as a first try, and that led to one of the guy who was with those superheroes got captured. And that was so crazy because you can see the giantess grabbed the person like, oh, so your friends are running away and you just staring because maybe you are shocked or maybe you're paralyzed because in your brain you are stuck because you see this happening in real life, and that is really crazy. By the way, I'm referring this is a show, this is a movie, so yeah, I'm gonna tell you the title of the movie so that you guys can at your own time go to watch it. So when you grab a person, so those ladies like they came back like, hey, you captured one of our friends, so we need to like tend to contain you so that we can make sure that person that you captured is safe, because we don't want our friend to die just because we left him behind. So yeah, so it had like they had to choose what to do, and they came with a solution of like turning or transforming one of the superheroes into a giantess so that he can fight another giantess. And that was crazy because that was the beginning of the fight of 2 giantesses with different kind of gadgets. So one of the superheroes who was at the first scene was throwing one of the polka dots, she transformed into a giantess, and then they're starting fighting with another giantess. So we can see we have one superhero who's a giantess, and also we have one housewife who's going rogue and acting crazy. So yes, so one is the superhero pulled out a blade, and the housewife giantess pulled out one of like, I can say, is it like a type of plant? I don't know what it's called, but it's like, it's not like spinach or something. I don't know. You can tell me in the comments if you watch, you're gonna know what kind of like that plant is. Yes, but I know it's like edible. So yeah. So you can see one of the superheroes like pulled the blade, and one of the housewife pulled like this like a long plant. I think it's an onion. I don't know, leaves. I don't know. So it shows they start like sparring and stuff, and that was crazy because at the first scene you can see at the first part of the fight, the housewife giantess won by beating the shit out of that superhero. That was so crazy. And you know what, the superhero said, you know what, even though you were kicking me, but I'm going to like use some lethal weapon, lethal ways of containing you, because I was taking like, okay, you're a giantess, you're a normal person, you just transform into a giantess by this weird twin magician who tends to be on your pockets, and they tend to try to control you for their own benefit. So you know what? I'm gonna use some blade. So when she pulled the blade and she wanted like, you know what? I'm gonna hurt you. And those two magicians appear in the pocket or the housewife's pocket, like, hey, you know what? Cut a spell. And they tend to, in his bag, you can see the housewife's bag. There's like this, I don't know what it's called, but they tend to be like missiles and stuff. Yes, and yeah. So you can see on the scene, like, okay, they are sparring, and then the superhero like uses a blade to cut the housewife, giantess housewife, what? I can say weapon. After that, I thought that, okay, the giantess maybe was contained. Maybe he realized like, I can't fight the superhero because he's so skilled. She's so skilled, and she has a blade, so that's kind of dangerous. So while they're sparring, they start hearing someone calling, like someone like speaking out loudly with like a microphone or something, like, hey, you know what? This is not good. I think that the person was like the housewife husband, like maybe he was asking for forgiveness or something, like, hey, you know what, I know I did everything bad, maybe I don't work so much, maybe I didn't have time for you and something like that, so can you forgive me? And I don't know, starting like to apologize for forgiveness, so that the giantess housewife can like calm down, because she was acting weird. So yeah, so he was talking like, hey, you know what, we can fix this, maybe, I don't know, here, yes, I'll be home every time, like, hey, spend time, a lot of like quality time, we can go to vacations, all those like, tend to put some lies in there so that you can you can solve it, like you can tend to make that situation like great peace so that nobody can get hurt, because you can see, even though the superhero like won the second time, but it didn't even like mean anything, because the giantess was already like so powerful than the superheroes, so that was crazy. So yeah, so like, pleading like, hey, you know what, forgive if I did something wrong, well, maybe we can talk it out and fix it, we'll fix our family and stuff like that. And the giantess just laying down and starting like to speak. I don't know, if you want, you can turn the CC section for caption symbol, so that you can find different kind of like caption languages which are you can understand what is being said, because you can see when the giantess was kneeling down, the housewife giantess was kneeling down, the eyes was like on fire, so it means like that giantess was filled with rage. That's why it caused her to cause all this chaos in that town, causing chaos, bullying the painter, like throwing a person's car while the person is inside the car. And that was so crazy, because hey, that was crazy. So yeah, that was so crazy. So yes, so while speaking to her husband, and then you know what, she started like shrinking down to a normal size, and that was so cool, because you can see just she was not expecting to become a giantess overnight, and that triggered to all the rage that she experienced to transform into like this a rogue giantess who was wreaking havoc in that town. So that was the scene is about. So I had to explain what the scene actually means and what is it. But to me, I really I think one of the characters who was so traumatized is the painter, because the painter first, before the giantess arrived in the painter's window, you can see the painter was struggling, because you can see he was painting, and also while painting he was drinking. So it means he was having stress. Maybe maybe work was not good. Maybe he haven't been selling all those painting and other masterpieces, So he had like a lot of like stress, and while having that stress, a giantess come to the window and then increase a lot of stress. So I think a character who is traumatized in this scene is a painter, because the painter was going through a lot, and then the giantess just appeared and increased the trauma to his face. Or maybe that can be a disadvantage, maybe a trauma, and also it can be an advantage, because just by the arrival of the giantess in the painter's window, maybe that moment was the moment that the painter was supposed to get or to experience, so that he can create this like amazing masterpiece, so that in that masterpiece, maybe in the future, it was about to like to boost his life, I think, because that experience, and use that experience to create a painting to show what you experienced from a giantess appearance. Maybe you never know, that painting will be sold for a lot of money, and you can have no stress anymore. So that is my thought. So that was one of the advantage, and another disadvantage. So guys, if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed, please make sure to subscribe and tell me in the comments what you think. Yes, tell me in the comments what you think, and leave a like to this video. And if you're really interested in buying one of the products, you can find it on the description box. Buy it, a lot of hats and also t-shirts, because if you do that, I may get a little bit of commission from all those products. So support the channel by buying all the product, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you're interested, go and subscribe to my second channel, because my channel is almost 1,000. So